being the son, I was supposed to be the carrier of the legacy. You understand? So it came to a point where I had to flee for my life because there were rumors that I was wanted dead too.
On culture. Ngululeko on Culture, hello and welcome to yet another episode. Thank you very much for joining us. Please subscribe, comment, and like the content. And thank you very much for subscribing if you're part of the 35,000 people that have subscribed to the channel. Today we have a very, very special guest, a very interesting human being that you've seen on TikTok and everywhere. Ubonga is a homeless person. That's how we get to know him. But of course, he's a human being with a very compelling story. Bonga, thank you very much for joining us. How are you, sir?
I'm my regular self. Yeah. Yeah, embracing his grace because I'm a profound believer in such.
And the other booty, I'm lost, bro.
Jehovah.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. It took us 2 hours to get you, but finally you're here.
Yes.
Shout out to Ufenza Peliahaya
Yes.
for driving and getting it. Thank you so much. And shout out to Gaugelo Sebata as well, our videographer. And thank you very much for you guys joining us. Please don't forget to subscribe. A lot of people are fascinated by your story.
Yes.
And obviously the language is the appeal to it and the personality as well.
Yes.
But we'll get there as to how you get to speak the way that you speak.
Okay.
And the personality. But who are you really and where do you come from? Ubonga ubani? Ubuya kuphi?
All right. Igama ubonga BONGA. Usithole uJobe umondise umantshana umsongo insimbi kubase umaphithe ngegama nesibongo. Shuthi my mom's uhlala eZola too, but my pops use koTlhabani ko Best-SD for Rustenburg. So yeah, okay, my pops was like the guy taxi owner. Mara yena, he was shot dead, 9 bullets to the head. He died. You understand? So it's in a sense part and parcel of why I came to being migrating down at Campus Square intersections, because it was more of domestic mishaps endlini, you understand? Because as you know now yourself, the taxi industry can be very mean, you understand? To such an extent, my own family were like at disputes for over my father's estates because I was my father's only son. So as being the son, I was supposed to be the carrier of the legacy. You understand? So it came to a point where I had to flee for my life because there were rumors that I was wanted dead too.
Yeah, it's a very tragic story. And I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your father. But how was you growing up, Ezola? Was your mother and father living in the same house, or you were saying it was in Rustenburg for the most part? So how was family life to you from your early ages, maybe until your teen years?
They split at a very tender age. So my pops get Tlhabani, get Best-SD, get Rustenburg, and then my mom's go Zola. So my upbringing was back and forth. Yeah, but like one annum here, 1 year there, 1 year here, 1 year here. You understand? But one of my fondest memories were going to school it was an Afrikaans school. Dit was eers 'n boerskool my belangrikste maat. So ek is 'n boer binne, net 'n bietjie buite gebrand in die Here se heilige genade. Ja, man.
He comes from Benoni, so he would understand you better. Offense. He's a cheese boy from Benoni. And he went to an African school as well.
Okay. Yeah.
But I want you to give us the audience a window into your life at the time. So you went to an African school,
Yes,
which
yes,
is
yes.
in a way an insinuation that there was some prosperity in your household. What kind of life were you living there? You say you were a father's only child. Benibangaphi ngaphakathi endlini kumama yakho? Be life enjani leyo as when you were younger?
All right. To be honest with you, my father, I would say, was a womanizer in a sense. Because then, he loved women. And he had many wives, you understand? But on my mom's side, I was the only one. But on a broader scale, BC 19, all around Umzansi, you understand? To begin my twins, Evokros, in forecast and stuff. Yeah. So, Marayena, I just believe naturally from at a tender age, I always had rather broad cerebral, you understand, naturally, you understand, because, and at that, my father loved me for that, and he tried his best to invest in the growth of you understand, for me, like in terms of education.
Yeah, but and
yeah,
he's supportive of that.
Yeah, I understand. Yes. So yeah, na umuntu, even though beka split here with moms, ingakho beka nokuthi ngihlele 1 year, then angibuyisi, no, let him come ahlale nami for a year, and then one of these white schools zakotlhabane, and then I'd go there. Yeah.
How long did you spend with your mother, if you were to estimate? Was it every few years you move away from her? What kind of life was there in that household?
Every annum. Sweetie, it's a year here, a year there.
Yeah.
A year here. Yeah.
That's not ideal for a child.
Yeah, circumstantially. Yeah, I could say that, yes. Because obviously, angithi fam has to be like, you understand, that the bondage of having spouses. Yeah.
Like, from whatever you can remember, what kind of relationship did you have with
my
them?
mom still? In fact, I mother. The word mother itself speaks volumes. Oh, mama, like mothers. Yeah, royal salute. Like my mom's, yeah. Inkinga nje is their father's son. She fell in love with this guy, dog. Uyo ngathi futhi nayo waba inkinga nje life yami, because it got heavy with substance abuse, alcohol in specific. You understand? Angazi ukuthi was he jealous of me, but he, like, he tuned me 99, which wena, you're not my own, and you'll never be my own. You understand? So he was more a culturally based being. Yabon, which mina ngithi bengibiza isibongo setime, my biological.
Actually,
no, actually, isibongo lesi ese old lady usithole.
Okay.
Yeah. Ubabam bekumadonsela. Yeah. So other guy, like he had friction, and funny enough, umama at the time beka manager yase Xerox nase Bytes Document Solutions. So was one another guy engasebenzi. He even spoke to the superiors, which by once that was done and established, was she a totally different character. Waba heavy with alcohol. Then he would start hoying oral rubbish my way, and that's something I found as one of izinto, like your experiences as a being, which oral out surpasses any physical form of it takes deeper into, you understand. So I believe those are some of the things that contributed to me being a street dweller. Should evaluate about the cherry on top, what happened to my biological dad, who was and
yeah. Did your mother have any other children with your stepfather?
As time progressed, they did.
And were you living with them at the time that there were those children were born?
Yes.
How was the situation when they were born?
It was always, he came drunk and, be all physically and orally. He was too physical. Mara, the oral part of things, things that came out of verbally were too suppressive to me. And imagine the saddest part where these young offspring and pedigree abasakhulayo witnessing, because as you know, the young reflective,
impressionable,
yes, from their elders as to izinto ezenzakala in any domestic establishment. You understand? So I felt more for them, bangakhuli bebona these altercations between stepfather and
how severe were those confrontations, from what you can remember? Was it every week when he comes back from work drunk, he would beat your mother plus you guys? Can you expand a little bit more on that? What would happen?
Actually, mangakutshela kahle ne, I think it was more the jealousy side of things with my father, was it his own, because izinto bezinophuma emlonyeni wakhe. Why don't you go to your father, your tycoon father? You are busy with us here. You are being a nuisance. It's like, Maji, we have a hog in the house. And then my mother would stand up and was like, Yabana, when I'm not even entertaining you. And it was like, his mission or his core mandate was for me to leave. And then my mother was like, where does he go? Because this is my flesh and blood. If you don't love me, well, if you don't love him, you don't love me. So it came to a point where he would chase me. Then I would like outside on rainy days or whatnot. As progressively, like at Campus Square being a street dweller.
So you going to the street is the direct result of him chasing you out, and it's not as a result of you being a teenager who's being delinquent who does. It was nothing like that. He was deliberately pushing you out.
Because at the time I was still I wasn't even. I was still in school at the time.
When you observe now your mother standing up for you, was that sufficient? Was your mother, perhaps my mother, for example, could not stand up for me with my stepfathers because that was the only shelter that she would have at the time, and she would know that every time I was being that if she stands up for me, then we don't have a place to stay automatically, So when you observe your situation, did your mother fight enough for you? Why did she do that? Or why, if you feel that she didn't do that, why not?
I feel like almost the same scenario. My mother bought a house, go protect land, but unfortunately it was repossessed due to Yasma's bond mortgage payments. And then they had to stay by the man's house. Now the bull in his own crow. You understand? So hence, I believe that was what was giving him more of an oomph. Which, this is my roof. I can do whatever I please. So I believe my mother was slightly powerless in a sense. You understand? Against this bull with horns. At the time.
It's a very touching story. It's reflective of what happens to kids when they're not protected sufficiently and what adults they eventually become. And of course we complain about crime and lawlessness in South Africa, but when you always search and dig deep, you find that there was a foundation.
Domestic mishaps.
Absolutely. The foundation would have been that domestic situation. In your regard, what kind of relationship do you have with your mother's children?
Are they
like, boys or girls? How
girls,
younger than you?
Girls.
What is the age gap between you and them?
I'm 15 years older than the second one. And then the other one, I'm 18.
18 years older than the other one. And how's the relationship?
Lovely. In fact, it's strange because they love me. Because you know why? I believe I played a role in their upbringing. You understand? Because the guy was always out boozing and whatnot. So I was the one, typically, I would change the diapers sometimes. Understand? I was the one, it was my mission to take them to daycare, etc. You understand? So